All right, so 3.4, we're going to be solving systems of equations with 3 variables now. So on the quiz, we had 2 variables and 2 equations. Now we're going to have 3 variables and 3 equations. So it's just a little step up. So this brings us to our first example. Solve the system of equations. So a little side note here, the coefficient of 1 in the second equation makes y a good choice for elimination. So we look at this y to start. Now, it's positive, and the first equation, our y is negative, and the third equation, it's negative. So we can combine it with either one of these equations, but we got to pick one. So do you want to combine it with the first equation or the third?
The third.
Let's do it the first. So we need this to be a 2y in order for it to be the same number but opposite, so we can combine it and eliminate it. So what do we have to multiply times everything to get it to be a 2y? So we need to multiply everything times 2. So we're multiplying everything times 2. So I'm going to rewrite this second equation down here. So what's negative 4x times 2? Negative 8x. We already multiplied the plus y times 2, so that's just 2y. What's negative 5z times 2? Negative 10z. And what is negative 36 times 2? Negative 72. So we already said we're going to combine it with the first equation, so I'm just going to rewrite the first equation down below. So we have 3x minus 2y plus 4z is equal to 35. The key for these types of problems is to be organized, so that way you can see what exactly you're doing. So we already said we're canceling out our y's, so let's combine our equations. What is negative 8x plus 3? Negative 5x. Our y's cancel since they're the same number but opposites. What is negative 10z plus 4? Negative 6z. And then what is negative 72 plus 35? Negative 37. Okay, so we're just going to pause here, and we'll come back to this equation. Next thing we want to do, we picked the first 2 equations. Now we need to pick 2 new equations. So we could either do the first and the third or the second and the third, but something's got to include the third. So again, back for this little side note, the coefficient of 1 in the second equation makes y a good choice for elimination, so we want to pick the second equation again. So we're going to do the second and the third now. So we're going to ignore everything we just did to the second equation and start back from the top. So now our goal is to cancel out the y's, but what do we need our second equation? What coefficient do we need in front of that y to get it to cancel? 3. So what do we have to multiply times everything in our second equation for it to be 3? 3. Times 3. So we're multiplying everything in our second equation times 3. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. What's negative 4 times 3? Negative 4 times 3. Negative 12x. Plus 3 times y, which would just be 3y. What is negative 5z times 3? Negative 15z. And negative 36 times 3? 108.
108.
So negative 108. We said we're combining this with the third equation, so we're going to write the third equation right below it. So 5x minus 3y plus 3z is equal to 31. So I just rewrote this third equation down here. And now I do the same thing. I'm going to combine everything to eliminate the y's. So it's super important, if we eliminate y's in the first two, we have to eliminate y's in the second two. So we combine. So what is negative 12x plus 5? Negative 7x. What happens to our y's? Cancel. What is negative 15z plus 3z?
Negative 12z.
Negative 12z. And what is negative 108 plus 31? Awesome, negative 77. So now we take our first equation that's highlighted in yellow and the second one, and we're going to combine these two together. So we have negative 5x minus 6z is equal to negative 37, and negative 7x minus 12z is equal to negative 77. We need to eliminate a variable just like we did on the quiz yesterday. So we have to multiply one of our equations by something to get one of our variables to cancel out. So we see that 6 and 12 kind of go together. What can we multiply by 6 to look like 12? 2. But it's negative 6 and negative 12, so they have to be opposites. So negative 2. So we're going to multiply everything in our first equation by negative 2. So negative 5x times negative 2? 10x. Negative 6z times negative 2? Positive 12z. And then negative 37 times negative 2? Positive 74. And our second equation, so this one, I'm just rewriting it right below it so I can see when we combine it together. Now that we have a positive 12z and a negative 12z, we combine. What is 10x minus 7x? 3x. What happens to the 12z's? Cancel out. And then what is 74 minus 77? Negative 3.
Negative 3.
Now can we solve for x? What do we do? Divide by 3. So what's x equal to? Negative 1. Okay. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of steps, and we're not even done yet.
Whoa. Yeah, this one is there's 4 questions, and I was like, oh, this is a long.
So x is negative 1. We need to take this, plug it into one of our 2 variable equations here. So which one should we plug it into, the first one or the second? It doesn't matter, but yeah, let's plug it into the first. So here we have negative 5 times negative 1, since x is negative 1, minus 6z is equal to negative 37. What do we have to do to solve for z? What can we do? What do we do to solve for z here?
Well, like we need to get it by itself.
Yeah, so what can we do? What do we do first?
Distribute, like times the -5 and the -1.
What's -5 times -1?
+5.
+5. So +5 minus 6z is equal to -37. What's next?
-5.
-5. So -6z is equal to -42. Now what? Divide by -6. So z is equal to what? 7. So that's our answer for z. Now we go back up to one of our first 3 equations here and plug in our x and plug in our z. So we go back up to the top and we're going to plug in both of these. So pick an equation, 1, 2, or 3. Which one do you want to use? 2? Okay. So we have -4 times x. What's x? -1. Plus y. Do we know what y is yet? Nope. That's what we're solving for. So just leave it as plus y. Minus 5 times z. What's z? +7. And that's equal to -36. Now we solve for y. What do we need to do first to solve for y? Yep, so we multiply. What's -4 times -1? +4 plus y. What is -5 times 7? -35 is equal to -36. What do we do next? Combine. So since these two are on the same side of the equation, we don't change the signs, we just combine them. So it would be y. What is 4 minus 35? -31. And that's equal to -36. What do we do next? Add 31 to both sides. So what do we get for y? What's -36 plus 31? -5. So y is equal to -5. Nope. Once we find x, y, and z, we're done. So we got our x, we got our y, and our z. So x is equal to -1, y is equal to -5, z is equal to -7. So we have -10x. What's 3y times 2? 6y. What's -z times 2? -2z. And what is -17 times 2? -34. I'm just going to rewrite the second equation right below it. So I have -3x plus 5y plus 2z is equal to -27. Now that I see these are the same number but opposites, we can go ahead and combine them so they cancel out. So what is -10x plus -3x? -13x. What is 6y plus 5y? Plus 11y. What happens to our z's? Cancel. And then what is -34 minus 27? -61. Okay, once we eliminated z, we stop here, and then we need to eliminate z again in another two-pair. So we go back up to the top. I'm going to erase what I did here so we don't get confused. So I just combined the second and the third. We're working with the third, so now I need to do the third and the first. And again, we have to eliminate the z's. So what do I need to multiply times negative z to get positive 5? Just 5? Negative 5, because we want it to be positive 5. So we're multiplying everything here by negative 5. So since this one is negative 5, we need the opposite, so that's why we want it to be positive 5. So we're multiplying everything in our third equation by negative 5. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. So what is negative 5x times negative 5? 25x. What's 3y times negative 5? Negative 15y. And what is negative z times negative 5? Negative times negative becomes positive, so positive 5z. And then negative 17 times negative 5? 85. Now we're combining this one with the first one, so I'm just going to rewrite our first equation right below it. So I have 2x plus 4y minus 5z is equal to 18. So all I did was write the first equation down here, just so you can see it. Now that I have the same number but opposites, I combine the two together to cancel them out. So what's 25x plus 2x? 27x. What's negative 15 plus 4? Negative 15y plus 4y. Negative 11y. What happens to our z's? Cancels out. What's 85 plus 18? 103. All right, once I eliminate the z again, so I eliminated the z's from both of these. Now I have two equations with two variables. So I'm at the same place that we took our quiz yesterday. So I have two equations with two variables. Now I combine these two together. So I'm going to rewrite them here. So I have negative 13x plus 11y is equal to negative 61. And 27x minus 11y is equal to 103. Can I combine these two together, or do I need to multiply something first? Combine them, because we have the same number but opposites. So I can just go ahead and combine them. So what is negative 13x plus 27? $14. 14x. What happens to 11y minus 11y? Cancels out. And then negative 61 plus 103. It's a negative 61 plus 103. So that's 42. What do I do to solve for x? Divide. So what do we get for x? 3. Now what do I do with this x is equal to 3? Plug it into what? So one of the equations we have,
That you just made.
one of the new ones that I made that only have two variables. So we can't plug it into the beginning yet because those have 3 variables. So we need 2 to plug into that, but we only have 1. So we need to plug 1 into one of the ones with 2. So we can either plug it into this one or to this one. So which one? Sure, let's plug it into the blue one. So we're going to plug it into x. So we have 27 times 3 minus 11y is equal to 103. What do we do first? We multiply, so 27 times 3 would be 81. Minus 11y is equal to 103. What do we do next? Subtract 81 on both sides. So negative 11y is equal to, what's 103 minus 81? 22. Now we divide by negative 11. These cancel. So y is equal to what? Negative 2. So now we have x is equal to 3 and y is equal to negative 2. What do we do next? Plug it into one of our first equations so we can find z. So we can plug it into 1, 2, or 3 up here. So which one are we going to pick? Let's do 3. It doesn't matter. We can plug it into any one. Let's just plug it into 3. So we have negative 5 times 3. So 3 is x. So we'll plug that in there. Plus 3 times y. So what's y? Negative 2. Minus z is equal to negative 17. So I just plugged in both of these to our first equation. All right, now we solve for z. So what do I need to do first? Multiply. So what's negative 5 times 3? And what is 3 times negative 2? So negative 15 minus 6 minus z is equal to negative 17. What do we do next? Combine. So what's negative 15 minus 6? Negative 21 minus z is equal to negative 17. What do we do next? Add 21. So negative z is equal to? What's negative 17 plus 21?
Negative 4.
4. And then, are we done? What do we do next? Awesome. Just move the negative to the other side. So z is equal to negative 4. So now we have our x, our y, and our z, and we're done. So let's look at, sure. If you want to do it on your own, you can practice it, but we're just going to skip the fourth slide for now. All right. So the last example, where should we start? The first one, what do we need to do? There's no single variable. So we're going to have to multiply. We can multiply by 2, like we can multiply both of our equations if we need to. So let's pick a variable and we'll just work with that. So which one do you want to pick, x, y, or z?
X.
Let's pick x. The numbers here are smaller for x, so let's just pick x. Everybody agrees we should pick x? Okay, so we're going to pick x. So let's start with our middle equation, since this one's negative. And that way we'll combine it with the first one and the second one. So do you want to start with the first one or the third? Let's do the first one. So we're working with these two here. So I'm just going to rewrite them down here. I'm not going to multiply anything to them yet. I just want to organize myself. So I have 5x plus 4y minus 5z is equal to negative 10. And negative 4x minus 10y minus 8z is equal to negative 16. So I just rewrote them. Didn't do anything yet. Our goal is to cancel out the x's. So how can we get these two to be the same number but opposites?
Multiply both.
Yeah, we can multiply both.
Multiply 5 by 4 and 4 by 5.
Awesome. We multiply the first one by 4 and the second one by 5. So I need to multiply everything in my first equation by 4. So this now becomes 20x. So I'm just doing the first equation here. What's 4y times 4? What's 4 times 4? 16. So 16y. And what's negative 5z times 4? Negative 20z. And that's equal to, what's negative 10 times 4? Negative 40. And then we have to multiply our whole second equation by 5. So this one becomes negative 20x. What's negative 10y times 5? Negative 50y. And then what is negative 8z times 5? Negative 40z. And negative 16 times 5? I think it's 80. 16 times 5. Yeah, negative 80. All right, now we have the same but opposite, so can we combine? Yeah. What happens to our x's? Cancels out.
They cancel out.
What is 16y minus 50y?
34.
Negative 34y. What is negative 20z minus 40z? Negative 60z. And what is negative 40 minus 80? Negative 120.
Negative 120.
All right. So we got two variables. We can pause there for now. We're going to come back to that. Now we need to combine two more equations to get two variables again. So we just did the first two. We like to work with this negative 4. So now we want to do the second and the third. So I'm going to rewrite those over on the right side just to keep myself organized. So I have negative 4x minus 10y minus 8z is equal to negative 16. And 6x plus 15y plus 12z is equal to 24. We're doing the same thing but with two different equations. So again, we want to eliminate the x's. So what do I need to multiply to make these the same number?
6 by 2 and 4 by 3.
Perfect. Awesome. We want to make these 12. So we can multiply 6 times 2 and 4 times 3. So if I multiply negative 4 times 3, I have to multiply everything in our first equation by 3. And I have to multiply everything in our second equation by 2. So negative 4x times 3.
Negative 12.
Negative 12x. Negative 10y times 3.
Negative 30.
Negative 30y. Negative 8z times 3.
Negative 24z.
Negative 24z. And negative 16 times 3.
Negative 48.
Negative 48. Now we multiply the second equation by 2. So 6x times 2.
12x.
Perfect. 12x. 15y times 2.
30y.
12z times 2.
24z.
24z. And 24 times 2.
48.
48. So we're combining our first two. What happens to our x's?
They cancel out.
Cancel. What's negative 30y plus 30y? 0.
0.
What is negative 24z plus 24z? 0. And what is negative 48 plus 48?
0.
0. So we get 0 is equal to 0. Is 0 equal to 0?
Oh, yeah, infinite solution.
Infinite solutions. So when you get 0 is equal to 0, just like we did in the last section, we get infinite solutions.